Hey guys, we've had a lot of people asking us for a marches refresher, and since we don't have time to get in a classroom with y'all for maybe the next couple of weeks, we thought we'd go over the skills that we went over in Tac Lifesaver. So we're gonna hit up marches. You guys remember that our priority is scene safety and officer safety. So do not start treating someone medically until the scene is safe. The best battlefield medicine is fire superiority. So we have to take care of bad guy and take care of all of our police duties before we can break this stuff out. In the event that an officer goes down, remember the acronym MARCHES. The first thing we're gonna do is massive bleeding. Everything that I'm gonna do today that I'm going to give you an example or demonstration of is out of the leg bag that you guys have. If anybody's watching this video and you carry something different other than what I use, just put it in the comment section and we will go over that as well. First things first. I come up to an officer down, are you okay? If he's conscious, I'm going to massive bleeding. Do I see anything spurting, any arterial bleeding? That's bright red spurting blood. Remember, when in doubt, if you don't know if it's massive bleeding or not, we're gonna go ahead and treat it like massive bleeding. So let's assume for this demonstration purpose that he has a spurting arterial wound from his left thigh. I'm gonna take the SWAT T tourniquet and stretch it out. Stretch, wrap, and tug. This is not that hard. Go high or die, so I can prop his leg up. I can go all the way up as far as I can get into the groin, and I'm gonna take this tourniquet and tie it off as tight as possible. You cannot do this too tight, okay? You really wanna stretch it and get it all the way to where we're cutting the circulation all the way off. That's massive bleeding for an appendage. The same thing on the arm, okay? If he's shot anywhere on his arm, it doesn't matter if it's all the way down here. If it's arterial bleeding, I'm going all the way up into the armpit and I'm gonna tie that tourniquet off. The other thing we have in our leg bag for massive bleeding is quick clot. Quick clot's really simple to use. The only thing you guys need to remember is don't open the inner packaging. You're gonna tear apart the plastic, use the sponge, and you're gonna put the whole sponge into the bullet wound. So if he has a bullet hole in the groin up here in the armpit that you can't get a tourniquet into, or you can't use a tourniquet on, you're gonna go ahead and use the quick clot sponge. Don't tear this open and don't use the old kitty litter style quick clot. Only the kind that looks like this, the 25 or 50 grain sponges. So that's massive bleeding. Next thing I want to worry about is airway. If he's conscious, then I've already checked that off my list. If he's unconscious, I want to do head tilt chin lift and assess the need for a CPR. All right, let's assume that he's conscious because that makes it easy. The next thing I'm going to do is check and make sure that he doesn't have any bullet holes in his chest that need to be tended to. So I'm going to get rid of this vest. All right, if we're in the hot zone, okay, if we have an active shooter and we're treating an officer down in a hot zone, I don't want to completely get rid of the vest. I'm just going to lift it up, keeping it off of his face, and I'm going to check and see what I got. All right, if I have any bullet holes from the shoulders all the way down to the belly button, I'm going to use a halo chest seal. So, halo chest seal, same thing as a quick clot. Rip this off. And they come with these big stickers, right? These are really easy to use. If the tip of my finger is the bullet hole, we're just gonna put this the chest seal rather on the bullet hole and press down on all sides. Before you use it, you may wanna take his t-shirt. His t-shirt's gonna have to come off. Cut that off with your trauma shears. Use his t-shirt or gauze or whatever to wipe down the area as good as possible, and then slap this halo chest seal right on top of the bullet hole. Also, don't forget to check for an exit wound. Every single hole from shoulders to navel all the way around his body will get a chest seal. That's underarms, back, entry and exit wounds. No matter if the bullet hole is the size of a pencil or if it's as big as your fist, it doesn't matter. They all get a halo chest seal. So massive bleeding, then airway, then responsiveness. I want to monitor his answers to my questioning and make sure that they're appropriate for what's going on. If he's telling you where the shooter's at, he knows where he's at, he knows what year it is, he knows who the president is, those are good signs. If any of that seems off or if he seems off to you, you want to make a mental note of that and let MedStar or the first responding medics know when they get on scene. That indicates that there might be some sort of head injury. Next on our list of marches is circulation. This is where we're going to do our blood sweep. It's important to know that for every officer that's shot one time, they may be shot multiple times. It's like searching for a weapon. Just because we find one doesn't mean we want to stop. So I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to touch him from head to toe. I'm going to do a blood sweep. So I'm going to start at the head, and every time I touch him, I'm going to look at my hands and see if I found blood. All right, I'm going to go all the way down, arms. All this gear is going to have to come off, and I'm going to look everywhere. Now, in our bag, what we have for regular circulation issues, we have the Israeli bandage. So, let's say he has a wound on his forearm. We keep your arm up just for this. Let's say it's bleeding, but it's not like arterial bleeding. It's not something that I'm gonna tie a tourniquet off of. I can use these Israeli bandages. Remember, these are double vacuum packed, so if you haven't prepped your leg bag already, make sure you cut the ends off of these. The point here is that you want to put this plastic piece right over the wound. So if he has a bullet hole right here, I'm going to slap this Israeli on right on top of it. The best way to use these is go one above and one below, covering up the edges of it. I'm going to go through the plastic piece, and then I'm going to come back this way on top of itself. This creates a pressure dressing with this plastic piece that will keep the bleeding from getting worse, hopefully. All right, then you make it all the way to the end. You make it all the way to the end, and there's these two hooks that you can secure this with, and that's good to go. You also have Z-Pack gauze in your bag. These are really easy too. You just open them up, and they're packed from the inside. Anything like on this same bullet hole, if we were going to use Z-Pack gauze, all I would do is put this gauze straight into the bullet hole. Just pack until you get to the point where this gauze is stacking up on the outside of the bullet hole, and then we want to do a pressure dressing on top of it. So ideally, you want to use this Z-Pack gauze first, and then do an Israeli on top of that. Massive bleeding, airway, responsiveness, circulation. The next thing on my list is hypo or hypothermia. So that means low body temperature or high body temperature. It could be either or. Just because it's 110 degrees outside right now doesn't mean they don't have low body temperature. A lot of times when people lose a lot of blood, they will go into shock, and we're trying to prevent that. So what do we want to do? We want to get him off the concrete, get something between the patient and the ground. Also, loosen all tight clothing and treat him for being cold or hot depending on what he says. Don't give him anything to eat or drink. We made it all the way through to H. We're at E. Evacuation, we just want to point out, is the only thing in marches that can move around in the acronym no matter where you need it. If you need to get an officer out of there right away, then you move them right away. It's all situationally dependent. We cannot give you a correct answer for exactly when to evac a downed officer. If you need to get them out of there, you get them out of there. If you can wait and you want to meet up with MedStar, then that's fine too. That's going to be one of those things that can change every single situation. The S in marches is for shock. All I want to do is loosen tight clothing, don't give him anything to eat or drink, and raise his feet up and have someone hold him that way. Okay? Any questions you guys have regarding anything marches related or any equipment that's in your leg bag, post them in the comments and we'll answer them as soon as possible today. Thanks, be safe.